What is up, you guys? Hey, welcome back. This is another episode of the Real Emotions series, okay? So this is episode 6. Welcome back. If you guys are liking the content, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Please be sure to hit that like button. I appreciate all of you guys for your love and your support. Any kind words that you've had for me thus far, I really appreciate that, you guys. All right, so I did have a little bit of a conversation that opened my eyes up to something. Please keep in mind that anything that I'm saying is just my humble opinion. I'm not a professional doctor. I'm not a professional mental health doctor of any kind, and I do not presume to be. I don't want anybody to follow any of the advice I give if they feel like it does not correlate with the aspects of their life, because that's not my job. All I'm doing is recording my experiences and basically stating my opinion, because we have freedom of speech. It's our First Amendment right, and I intend to use it. Okay? So this episode, you guys, is about being an educational sponge. This is the channel message that I got. Be an educational sponge. Absorb all of the knowledge around you and approach all situations as if you know nothing at all. It's difficult for teachers, scholars, experts, tutors to feel comfortable sharing knowledge if the pupil/audience isn't open to listening. It's a waste of their time, because all the while they're attempting to enlighten you to a new level, and you're acting as if you know, right? I hope you guys get what I said with that. Well, if you know, why are you still where you are? So keep in mind with these emotion series, like I said, I am just providing my humble opinion. And a lot of the things that I'm talking about are things that I had to realize that I was doing within myself. So just like in the first episode, when I was very emotional about situations, I had to realize that I was being a bitch to people. I had to realize that I was being an asshole sometimes. I had to realize that the energy that I was giving out is why I was receiving that energy back. It's all about self-reflection, and it's about you as a person being able to have that self-reflection so that you can improve and move forward. So I don't want anybody to feel attacked. I don't want anybody to say, oh, I said this and you said that and things contradict. Yes, life is a contradiction. I mean, you're going to say one thing when you're a child, and you're going to feel one way when you're an adolescent, and then you're going to feel a different way as you're an adult, and you're going to feel a different way as you enter into the mature adult community, okay? Life is a contradiction. So I don't really give a fuck. I don't want to hear it. But what I do feel is that I'm in a place, I feel, where I have to learn the errors of my ways. And I feel like that's the place where we all are as a collective. Learning the errors of our ways, learning the errors of our ways when it comes to pollution, learning the errors of our ways when it comes to parenting, whatever situation that we are in, whatever situation that you find yourself in as a human on this planet, there was a cause that created that effect. That's life. So I know that the reason why I feel a lot of these things is not only because of the collective causes, but also because of the individual causes. And it's caused me to, or it's prompted me to look at situations in a different light. One of those situations being learning, being knowledge, education. The reason why this came about was because I was having a conversation with my ex-husband, and it was kind of like I was telling him the things that were helping me, And there's two sides to this coin, so I'm going to get to both of them. But I was telling him the things that were helping me when it comes to my business, when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to my spiritual growth, because when he talks, I can hear him talking down on himself, right? That is the influence that he's putting into our children. That is the influence that I'm trying to eradicate from my own being, that I want him to also work on eradicating. But it frustrates me because whenever I try to tell him something that I've learned, it's like he doesn't get it. That's the part where I get frustrated. I've had to notice, or I've noticed over time that for a long time, I was the type of person that when someone was speaking or when someone was talking about something, I was immediately ready to respond, or I was thinking about my answer, or I was trying to say whatever I had to say. And I still do it sometimes. I have to catch myself. Like, it's hard. It's something that you actively have to work on. But I was noticing this about myself, and it took me back to a time where my uncle, he's a Sagittarius, okay? It took me back to a time where my uncle was talking to one of my cousins, right? And he was like, he was basically trying to teach my cousin something. Grown-ass man. My cousin's a grown-ass man. Trying to teach him something, but my cousin the whole time was like, yep, yes, okay, right, I can't stand when people do that. Like, if you, not at every word, right? Like, if you are telling someone something, and every single word that they say, the other person is like, right, yep, right. They're not really listening. They're waiting for you to finish, and they're trying to quell their mouth, okay? To wait for you to finish so that they can start talking. And it's like, it clicked. I finally got it after all these years. That conversation with my uncle and my cousin was years ago. And it's okay when I'm not judging anybody. And I'm definitely not going to judge myself, and I'm not going to allow myself to be judged, because I know what journey I'm on, and I'm very comfortable with that. But I had to really take a step back and understand that I was never going to learn anything if I'm always talking. So I've been taking time to really be silent. I know it's contradictory because I'm sitting here talking to you guys, but this is more so an evaluation after the silence. And this is more so of me thinking about what has come to my mind after I've been meditating. Now, there is another side to this coin, you guys, because as a tutor, as an educator, as a teacher, as someone who has the knowledge, right? And it's like, this is why I really respect certain content creators that kind of like ask you questions and make you think. Because as someone who has a certain amount of knowledge, you have to also know when to take a step back. You have to also know when it is not the appropriate time to try to offer people this knowledge. Sometimes people just aren't going to hear what you're saying, and you can't make someone hear what you're saying. I definitely learned that with the tarot. Sometimes you're just not going to be able to teach somebody. And that's a teachable moment. There's also a third point that I want to make, because it correlates with all of what I'm saying. The third point is that we have to be more humble, because even if we think we're well-versed, or even if we think we're knowledgeable in a situation, there's always somebody who knows more than you. There's always somebody who knows less than you. But it doesn't make the individual any less of a person based on the knowledge that they know, based on the credentials that they have. I've really noticed, and I feel like as a society as a whole, because I was born in 92. So I really feel like the people who were born in the 90s, especially the early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s, for the most part, I feel, had a very strong advantage over the 2000s kids, or you know, like the 70s kids. Like there was a great wealth of knowledge that came with being like a late 80s, early 90s kid. Even maybe into the late 90s too. There was an advantage to that because you were able to straddle the fence of two different worlds. You were able to see the old way and the new way, how they transformed and came together, and what the end result was. And I really feel like if you are one of those individuals, you need to use that knowledge right now, because I feel in my genuine humble opinion that we are now going through the same type of transition. I feel like we are now going through the same type of transition that originated from situations that were similar to segregation or similar to, you know, emancipation is the word that came to my mind. Like, I don't know how to professionally describe it, but I know that there's a transition of energy from a suppressed state to a more free and open state. And I feel like it happens like every 50 years or so. Maybe every 40 to 50 years. And I'm no expert. This is just my own intuitive opinion. So, number one, you have to be that person who is an educational sponge so that you can approach a situation from a naive mindset, because there's nothing wrong with being naive. It just means there's an opportunity to learn something new. And you have to see the value in that to be successful, in my opinion. Number two, when you do have that knowledge, you have to know when it's appropriate to share it and when it may not be the right time. It's all about that discretion. And then number three, no matter what level you are and what amount of knowledge that you have to still understand that there's more to be learned, that you're never going to know everything. No one in the planet is ever going to know everything. It's impossible. I don't care how smart you think you are. It doesn't make you better than the next person, period. It doesn't make you luckier than the next person. It doesn't make you more deserving than the next person. It doesn't make you more qualified. It just means that you have your what is the word I'm looking for? I guess you have your attractive qualities, which is your specific skill set. And that other person that may not know the same things as you, but may be knowledgeable in another subject, has their specific qualities that cater to their skill set. And we all have to respect each other, like, because that's the problem. Everybody thinks they can tell everybody else what to do because we don't respect the other person's opinion. I definitely sometimes don't respect other people's opinion, but I try to hear it, you know, I try to listen to it. And like, for example, I'll give another example of that because it correlates with the education and being an educational sponge. I told this guy, I met this guy, right? Y'all, let me tell you. I met this guy when I was out at the Brave celebration, right? A lot of things happened at the Brave celebration. It was crazy. But I met this guy. Maybe like I actually, it was in the video, I think I left it in the edit, where he was like, "You look familiar." And I was like, "Oh yeah? I don't think so." I don't ever tell people that they look familiar. You could look familiar all you want, but sometimes I do. But like, if somebody be like, "Oh, you look familiar, Casey," I'd be like, Because I don't know where you thought you saw me at, but I wasn't there. I was at the house, okay? But he was like, you look familiar. And I was like, oh, yeah. But it actually was true. Like, we went to the same high school, and he was a grade under me. And I should have never gave the nigga my number. Like, I just be doing dumb shit. But, like, live and you learn. I'm working myself out of that. I'm working myself out of that energy of not being selective, okay? It's a process, and I'm okay with that. And it helps me to learn my boundaries. So it's all positive. But I did give him my number, even though I shouldn't have, because he was already getting on my nerves. I don't know why I did that. And that's a great teaching moment. Like, why subject yourself to that? It's like, deep down, maybe I felt like that's all I deserved. But I'm getting out of that. And it's taking me less time to snap out of it, which is a benefit to me. It's a real accomplishment that I'm very proud of. Because people expect you to learn things overnight. Which is going to be in another upcoming video about the lessons that we learn. But people expect you to learn things overnight, but that's not how it's not how that works. So you have to be cognizant of that as a teacher and as a student. And I just thought it was a great teaching moment right there for myself, that it didn't take months for me to see that this was a problem. It only took me literally a few days. And that's an accomplishment that I'm very proud of. But yeah, long story short, he was getting on my goddamn nerve already. Get on my fucking nerve, blowing my goddamn phone up. And I was like, oh no, nigga, I know this is not what we're about to do. No, this is not what we're about to do, because no. Okay, thank you, Queen Chama. No, because no, okay? I don't have to explain why. The answer is no. So, like, the next day, he called me, and he was like, one thing that's a pet peeve for me, ladies, okay? Because I can't speak for men. I advocate for my ladies, and I speak to my ladies. If men can get something from it, from any of this, then I'm thankful. But ladies, one thing that I have a pet peeve about is motherfuckers calling me out my name. I don't even care if it's a name that you feel like is sweet and nice. It's not my name. So, I don't know who the fuck you talking to, but it ain't me. Okay? It ain't me. And I politely said, I was like, I politely kind of said that and I was like, hey, you know, because I feel like it was a joke. Like, I feel like not a joke, but it wasn't really funny if it was a joke. But I feel like that's just maybe how he is. And that's cool. And this is what I told him. I was like, look, like, because before I kind of sensed that he was going to start doing that, like saying all this bae and boo and bae and all that bullshit. I don't like that shit, okay? Call me by my goddamn name. But I felt that he was doing this, and I was like, I told him, I was like, hey, you know. And then he had said something like trying to be joking or trying to be funny, talking about, man, be quiet, man. You crazy. Like, I don't fuck with that shit. Because that's a way, like, to me, that's a tactic or a way to introduce poor treatment or to... It's like a way that people introduce poor treatment to you by seeing how they can test your boundaries, by seeing how they can test your limits. When, as a woman, when a man calls you out your name, doesn't call you by your name, hey, sweetheart, hey, honey, hey, babe, hey, boo, baby, beautiful, I don't give a fuck. Even when you say queen. you're not respecting me because you're not calling me by my name. You're generalizing me and putting me in a group of other people who you freely call bae and boo. And I know it might sound frivolous, but that's something that's serious to me. And if he didn't agree, I didn't have a problem with that, because this is what I told him. I asked him not to do that, because then he started to feel comfortable telling me, like, be quiet and shut up. And, you know, when people be like, man, shut your mouth. No, don't tell me shut my motherfucking mouth. Figure out another way to say it. There's millions of words in not only the English vocabulary, but other languages. I don't care if you have to say it in another language, but figure out how to talk to me respectfully, or don't talk to me at all. And that's on period. Like, that's what I have learned, and that's what I have come to. This is the point that I have come to after all of the consistent disrespect and abuse that I have had from the opposite sex my entire life. There has not been one man that has not disrespected me in some way as a woman. Even my uncle. I love my uncle, but my uncle has disrespected me several times. And there's something that I do not appreciate and I do not tolerate. I didn't talk to my uncle for several years because the things that we were trying to teach each other wasn't being absorbed. We were both I was trying to teach him about my generation and about how we think. And he was trying to teach me about his generation and how they think. But neither one of us were being receptive to the lesson. So it's like, then at that point, you can't be mad at the teacher or the pupil. You have to take the anger out of the equation and just look at it objectively. So this guy was doing all these things and saying all these, I was telling him, don't tell me to be quiet. And please don't call me bae anymore. That's what I said. Oh, that's what I do. I'll just be joking and da-da-da-da. And I said, that shit's not funny. I said, that to me is not funny. And I told him, like, respectfully, if that's how you are, this is how I told it to him. I said, if that's how you are, I'm not saying that you should change how you are. I'm just saying that that's something I'm not going to tolerate. And maybe we don't need to talk. And it was another, oh, why you tripping? And da-da-da-da. And whenever I get to that point where people say, why you tripping? I'll be like, look, have a good day. Be blessed. I wish you the best and goodbye. Like, it's no anger. It's no argument. We don't have to go back and forth. You have your opinion. I respect that. I respect you as a human being for how you feel, but I'm going to disassociate myself with you because it's not conducive to my mental health or the objective that I see for my life. Good day. And that's what I said. And I know he was salty, but oh well. I'm not going to be the one sitting here salty, allowing you to talk to me any type of way. The fuck? Okay, so I just feel like there's teachable moments in everything. And I know at times we may not realize what those teachable moments are. But if we go into situations as if we know nothing, I feel like it's a great way to really absorb the lesson that God is trying to teach you. And it's a great way for us to learn more from each other and to be more educated as a whole. So I hope you guys enjoyed this message. I'm going to leave it at that. I love you guys so much. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to leave me comments and feedback about the content, about the topics, about other topics that you want to talk about. Let me know if there's anything that you disagree with, because I love to have a conversation and we talk about it. Definitely leave your opinions, but be respectful, you guys. That's all I ask, because I'm not going to tolerate the disrespect. And it's fine if you don't agree with what I'm saying, because this, like I said plenty of times, is my humble opinion. But don't be disrespectful. Because you can kick rocks, bitch, with no shoes on if you want to disrespect people. Whether it's people in the comments or whether it's me, just don't. Just leave, okay? Thank you, you guys. See you later.